Welcome to the orchard in Mailberg, which we are maintaining. We see here some peach trees standing. Here's a walnut tree. This one I'm maintaining in a way. Last year the straw that is laying over here was covering this whole place, so it could suppress all the weeds. It was mainly grass. The ground was in a poor state, and there is still some grass growing. But what I did was I pulled all the straw to the side, and as the tree is taking its most nutrients from the sides of the tree, it will be best that that material is decomposing here, so that the fine roots of the tree, which are spreading until the outsides of the crown, can take up all the nutrients. What I also did, I was sowing out this. It's clover, in this case red clover. Could have been so white. The advantage of the clover is that it fixes nitrogen and it suppresses the weed when it's a nice carpet, so that I can in autumn again mow it down, pull everything to the side again, because the second advantage of this, that everything is laying on the side, is that when in autumn as the walnuts were dropping, before all the straw was laying there. So the problem was that if the walnuts fall inside, they just disappear. But now, then I cleaned it up and I could just find all the walnuts laying onto the ground, no problem. And this is a process I could do every year, cutting it down, putting it to the side, growing. Best would be to cut after the clover was flowering and the seeds are completely ripe, which will work because it will be done flowering before the nuts drop. Then as you cut it down, the seeds will spread everywhere, which is only an advantage, as it will grow again. You can put the cut material again to the side and the cycle starts over again. So that being said, here's an almost about to die, this one also, peach trees. But as I was putting straw around it, here is some fresh straw laying. Not so long time I added it. This is from last year, and as you can see, it starts to decompose here slowly. This soil was so depleted. I have to build this up more and more. But as I have a free straw source, I just dump it there and let it grow. What we also did was we made these swales. They are on a slope, more or less on contour, more feeling wise than actually measured. And as the rain will come from the sky, instead of just the nutrition swimming away, they every time will fall into these holes. In spring I will get the straw out of these holes and I will grow here also probably alfalfa, so to regenerate the quality of the earth and the earth underneath, as I can cut it down, and as here the earth inside is improving. After a few years I can lay this back on top again. The advantages of these hills that the earth stays soft, so the roots have enough space to have nice space to expand. There is a bit of straw underneath. As this decomposes, it also releases nutrition, but this is only for once and should not be done over again. Well, reconstructing the hills will be done after some years, but then the ground has already improved by the green manure that we will be growing here. In this case, probably alfalfa, as we live on a chalk mountain, and alfalfa likes this. Here I have for my work a row of walnuts. At the moment I work at the walnut nursery, and these they were gonna throw away because they had some damage, and I still planted them out and see what happens with them. They've all been marked with a color, as you can see, which I wrote down so that I know what it is. Here's a plum tree, another walnut, another walnut, another plum, but this one has a bit been bewildered. The actual plum is the bigger tree that is inside, and probably it has been a grafted rootstock. And as you can see already, for some years there is a wild variety growing inside. So this will be cutted away, and because they are very small, and yeah, they are nice, but we have them in other places also. And this is a big, beautiful plum. Another walnut. Here we made this system again from the swales, so closely behind each other. This ground was actually very compacted when I came here, and this is a very nice way to loosen it up a bit. Yeah, instead of in hardened ground grow, it's very easy to construct this. It's only 2 spades. It's only 2 spades wide. You just cut it in, put it to the side, and that was it. Make it a bit smooth. We in the beginning also covered the hills itself with straw, but wind and rain blew it down. Yeah. In the one here will probably be grown corn. There's also a walnut tree planted out, and there's another one. And in the front we are growing. I planted now already in autumn. Last autumn I already planted there sweet potato, horseradish, 2 varieties of potato, on which a purple one, and some garlic. Yeah. Anything that I plant out, I cover around with the straw, as in this will keep the roots nice warm in winter. As spring starts, it will prevent erosion from the rain. It stays underneath instead of that it would directly pound on the ground. The rain, it gets dampened. It stays moist underneath. It will decompose. Animals can live inside. It's not optimal to have it against the trunk laying. As you can see here, it started to get already moist. So you can better make donuts like this, but the trunk stays nice dry. So that looks good. But it might have been the weather that had been pushing this back. And yeah, it seems to be a good system. In this case it's straw because it was for me freely available, but actually hay would be better, as straw, most of its nutrients went into the production of the seed when it was developing, and hay on the other hand even gets used as food for the animals because of its nutritional value, and as it is so high in nutritional value, of course it will also release this in the ground when it decomposes. So hay would be a better option than straw. And hay is normally also with a lot of nitrogen fixing plants like alfalfa, clover. And so if there would be seeds inside, even though normally it gets cut before seeding, it's still not a problem because you spread for yourself nitrogen fixing seeds. Yeah, seems a win-win situation. But I don't have hay at the moment, so it's a big walnut tree. Yeah, last year were not so many nuts, but the year before was the biggest harvest. And this year it was actually the tree all the way in the front. Here we see a peach tree, and it's being outshaded by the walnut tree as the sun is rising there and sets there. It is trying to compete, and that's why we see that one branch is growing in that direction. But it would be, of course, a more beautiful branch to cut this away and to continue with this, as this will be a nice producing tree. So what I will do, but this is a bigger tree, so this has to be done later in the year probably, but I will only cut smaller branches. So now I'm not exactly sure what is the correct time, but I have at home the books laying. I will cut from up there some branches away so that there will fall more light into this tree and it has less competition, so then there can stand two nice producing fruiting trees next to each other. And even though normally a walnut can disturb the growth of others, I don't see any problem existing with this peach. I think many of those have been self-seedlings because for many years nobody did anything with this land, and I'm not owning it, I'm maintaining it, but it seems to be very good. And the deal that I have with the actual owner is that I give some of the harvest, and for that I can use this. Seems like an okay deal for me. This place actually we're grown with a berry that is normally likes to grow next to swamps, and for some reason it's growing here, probably because there was a lot of brush laying here when I already came. So as I added more brush to it, it was only a few plants. Now here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, but they also started to spread to here and even all the way until here. So if I'm gonna cut and cultivate them a bit better, then I can have a nice yield from it, even though it's not such a delicious crop like blackberry. It still has a nice flavor to it, and for personal use it's quite a nice berry, or at least for when I'm working here and I want to snack something. And as it is growing here wild, I think I should appreciate it. It likes it here. Here's another plum tree. Yes, here the earth is at the moment barren because I was seeding here a bit late in the year, and that's why it hasn't been growing yet in the right timing, I guess, or the ground was still hardened. But as you see, here is laying straw everywhere around it, and this was also once covered. It was like a little experiment, but I should have. In the front you have seen it worked. There was the clover, but here was not really anything popping up. Here's one clover. They're very small. Yeah, here's one. There's one, there's one, there's one. So they're there, they will come. I should have also have planted some garlic there, even though we don't see it now. It will probably come back soon. And the idea is that instead of planting garlic to harvest it constantly, I let it grow into a clump, preferably around the base of the tree. And as it will be one clump, it will suppress the grass, and it's also a beneficial plant for almost anything, actually. The garlic is a very powerful plant. So as it will then expand around the base, At a certain moment it's so much that I can just harvest from the sides. The expectation is that the bulbs will be smaller, but for that it has a double purpose. Yeah, planted out a hazelnut. English giant, translated from German. So made it free. Doesn't seem to take any damage from it. It will probably even root at a certain moment, but it's not a bad thing to keep. Let it air once in a while at least. Here we covered with straw, a lot of currant. Here are some, there were here probably some wild cherries or something. Yes, it are cherries. That's definite, but they are overgrowing some of the currant, and this one is quite okay. This one doesn't taste very good, so this one probably goes away. As it are seedlings, most likely. You don't know what the taste will be like because they are cross-pollinated, and from that seed could get any variety. Even though this is probably a planted one, and it's also a very delicious one, the seed doesn't have to have the same genetics. So that's why that one is quite sweet. This one is a bit bitter to tart. Yeah, so by cutting them, like I should say, this one will be cutted because it's not a good one. That one will be pruned, so it lets more light into the base and it can still grow. And then I don't know yet until which size I let expand it, or yeah, I will see that then. Here's some wild bushes. Yeah, but they are mostly for the birds, but they love the berries because this was full with berries actually, and there's nothing anymore. So it's good winter food for them. The birds in their turn keeps the insects away from me, of course. Yeah, here's some grapes. These were also about to die. I cut them quite a lot back, and here was one of the few places where they came and shoot outside, and there almost not. But now I could continue growing with this one, cut this back, and then in the hope that I can stimulate the flow in the end all the way until more down apart, so I can juvenile it very strongly. But for now, this would be too small, too weak. This would be a possibility. These two, but this cutting will start soon. Pruning, the pruning will start soon. Here's some more currant. Here's also normally growing some horseradish. It was growing here already, but quite wild. It's not really cultivated. I just harvested for own use. I spreaded one to the front, and in order to cultivate it better. But it has a very nice flavor. At the moment you don't see anything from it. There's Nino. Yeah, so that was about it. That was the orchard. Have a nice day.